What's up, Tamers? It's your boy Gino, and I'm really excited to say that I won a regionals. I got my first ever nationals invite, so we're going to Vegas. I'm really excited, and I did it with my boy Jesmon. So as you probably could tell from this title, we're going to go over the deck profile. I'll talk a little bit about my matchups and maybe a little combo, how to play the deck a little bit. My build of Jesmon is a little different from most topping lists of Jesmon as of late, which have mostly been running Omni X and have cut Ganku out completely. Not me. I believe in the boy Ganku. And yeah, without further preamble or blah blah, let's just get right into it. Let's take a look at my Jesmon build. So first, of course, the eggs. Since we don't really do chip damage and we only raise when we're ready to actually pop off, we are running 4 copies of the old BT8 Gankoomon. So Gankoomon, of course, when attacking, if you have 6,000 or more DP, you draw a card. Again, we pretty much only raise when we're ready to pop off, or if we just have a lot of Huckmons in hand and we know that we aren't going to find our pieces next turn, so we may as well just get another raise phase just for that extra draw, right? So Gankoomon is fine for when we are actually into Jesmon and we are swinging, we are getting that draw. All right, for rookies, we are running 4 copies of BT20 Huckmon. This Huckmon is start of main by trashing 1 card with Huckmon or Sistermon in its name or the Royal Knight trait, gain a memory and draw a card. This is really nice cycle. It guarantees that you can always get into Bao Huckmon and do your combo if this is what you have in the back, assuming you're not under Digimon Emperor, right? And he has the inheritable effect of all of your Digimon get plus 1000 DP. So generally, Jesmon's going to be 14 minimum, and you're usually swinging with 1 or 2 alliances. So you're always huge, and buffing your board is really nice too, because it can get you over some Crimson Blaze thresholds, which this deck kind of struggles against. But great Huckmon. We're not running the memory gain Huckmon, the other one, but we are running this memory gain Huckmon because he is also a searcher. The best searcher for the deck now is 4 copies of the newest BT23 Huckmon. This Huckmon on play, you get to dig top 3 of your deck. You get to add 1 Huckmon or Sistermon in name and 1 Royal Knight, which is huge. And it's a card. So we can grab option cards with this effect. We can grab Royal Knight trait. You can grab yourself Jesmon and a Huckmon lane, which is really nice. It's a really good searcher. Yeah, we don't have top 5 grab 2 anymore, but that one misses Gankoomon, and since we're running Gankoomon, it's really important that we see him. So this Huckmon, awesome searcher, great card, and inheritable effect when any of your white Digimon are played, gain a memory. It's nice to have the memory refund, but not super important. Ideally, this is the one we want in raising, but you know, that's perfect world. We just might not ever find this Huckmon, and this is the one we found, so that's the one we end up using. It just means that our board is going to be 1k weaker. All right, to continue our level 3s, that's it for Huckmons, but we do have some level 3 sisters in here. We're running 4 copies of the brand new BT23 Sistermon Blanc. I love this card. That's why she's at 4. She is insanely good. First of all, on play, add the top card of your security stack to your hand, then recover 1. So first of all, this is basically on play, draw 1, right? Because you're just drawing the top of your security and then replacing it. Or if you're at 0 security, this is just a recovery. Because it says add your top security, then recover. So if you have no security to add, you're just giving yourself another defense point, right? And then it's your turn effect, really good. When this Digimon suspends, one of your other Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Huckmon in its name or the Royal Knight or CS trait in the hand or trash with the cost reduced by 1. That or trash is what makes this Sistermon Blanc so much better than the CL that lets you Evo on play. I mean, there are situations where either or both of them are useful, but for our combo and to make things as streamlined as possible, I really want to see the Sistermon Blanc. So we really need to see one of her. But we can see her in hand or in trash most of the time with our ideal setup, right? And then this is my spicy tech. Not a lot of people are on this card. I think they're wrong. I think it's an awesome card, at least for this version of the build, because we play a little more of a defensive build. I'm on just 1 copy of BT7 Sistermon Blanc Awakened. I love this chick, dude. She comes down for 5, but a lot of the time you're playing sisters for free. So this is huge. And just on play, you place the Sistermon block from hand or trash as her source to recover 1, which is great. It's awesome. A lot of the time you're going to see 2 Sistermon blocks, and you really only need 1 at any point in time. So once you see the second one, this is basically live for you. And then on deletion, which is also huge, because you can eventually just make her a blocker and then block and grab the piece back you need, probably GXAs. Return 1 card with Jesmon, Huckmon, or Sistermon in its name other than Block Awakened from your trash to hand. And it's fine that you can't return her from trash to hand because you're playing her from trash most of the time anyway. So it's really good to just... I love this card. I think it does a lot for the deck. It's also 5k, which means you're usually buffed 2k, so she's over Crimson Blaze threshold, so she's staying alive off of that, which is nice. If your opponent cracks back with a Crimson Blaze. I love her. I love Block Awakened. She's another name, because Jesmon only lets you play Sistermons that you don't have one of already on the board. And since she's Block Awakened, she's not Block. It's just another name for you to get out. I love this card so much, and it has done so much for me. I can't sing enough praises about Block Awakened. All right, then we are on 4 copies. We're moving on to 4s now, by the way. That's our level 3 lineups. Our level 4s, we are on 4 copies of Bauhuckmon. Which Bauhuckmon? BT20 Bauhuckmon, because this is what's enabling our huge pop-off turn. The way this deck plays is you do 1 huge turn where you do 3 checks that are basically uninteractable, except they can be blocked, I guess. And then your board is immune to Digimon effects, and you tell your opponent, figure out a way around my board, or I win next turn. And you probably also have an ace threat to blow up their stuff. So Bauhuckmon, awesome card, has the same inheritable as this Huckmon. All your Digimon get plus 1000, so that's a 2000 buff most of the time. Main, once per turn, you may play 1 Digimon card with Sistermon or Gankoomon in its name from your hand, with the cost reduced by 2. So I'll show the combo later, but most of the time you're using this to play Ganku for -2, and Ganku plays himself for a reduced cost as well, so you're playing Ganku for 6. Yeah, he's our enabler. He does everything for us. You really want to see him. And because we don't want to only rely on him if we really have to, we really don't want to see this card, but we are on 1 copy of the BT13 Bauhuck. When you play a Sistermon, you can Evo for 2 less. Inheritable effect is the same as this Huckmon. When you play a Sistermon, gain a memory. He's just there to be a 5th level 4 for us that we can Evo in our stack. You really don't want to see him, but you can do pop-off plays with him. You can Evo into him, play the block, which lets you Evo into Savior, and then suspend the block, and you can get up into your Jesmon. You can do some stuff like that. But most of the time our combo requires us to get Ganku. And so this is just a backup plan, really. Or if you don't have Ganku and you just need to establish a Jesmon this turn, or you're going to lose, which might just happen anyway. But sometimes the pressure that you can put out as Jesmon is just enough that your opponent, even if you don't have immunity, they just can't deal with your board, and you just win the next turn either way. So 1 more Bauhuck, but we really want to see this one, right? All right. Now we're on to CLs. What's my CL lineup? We're on 2 copies of the new Sistermon CL, BT23. She's awesome. She's a blocker on face, which is great. On play, she pops a play cost 4 or lower Digimon. And when she becomes suspended, de-digivolve 1. That is huge. This is so much disruption. If you have her as an immune blocker on your field, your opponent has to think about swinging or they get de-digivolved. She's really good. Her effects are very simple and very effective. So there you go. Love this CL. I'm running 1 copy of the old Starter Deck 12 CL, the one that says reveal top 3, add a Royal Knight or Huckmon to your hand and trash the rest, and then all of your Huckmon or Royal Knight traits gain reboot. This is just another searcher for us, really. We just want some more CLs. We need another search. In the event that you did need to make a Jesmon stack without Ganku, it's nice to have reboot on him. Really though, she's primarily for dig and just another Sistermon CL. I'm gonna slide her down though, because we are running 2 copies of the BT20 Sistermon CL Awakened. This card is cracked. This is so good. She's 6,000 DP, so even with just 1 DP boost, she's over Crimson Blaze threshold. Trash effect. All turns. When any of your Digimon are played, one of your CLs can Digivolve into this from the trash without paying the cost. On play on Evo, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers cannot suspend till the end of their turn. Huge. Huge to lock down threats. Especially because you're going to pop off one big turn. If they had a stack on the board, you're going to stun it down, and they're probably not going to have much to do during their turn. And then, to make the pot even sweeter, end of all turns, place this Digimon's top stat card as the top security card. So if she's by herself, she doesn't do anything end of turn because she's not a stack. But if she had evolved on a CL, then she's going into your security and you're recovering. So you have 2 sisters that basically recover you, which is awesome. This card's so good for stalling. It's good even if you don't have a CL and you just need to hard play her or play her by an effect. A 5-cost stun is really nice. This card's so good. I would love to go to 3, but I don't think there's a world where you cut anything for her. At least in this current build. But I love her. She does so much. She stalled out a couple games for me. I'll talk about them at the end of this deck profile here. But next, that's it for 4s. Our CLs and our Bauhucks are locked in. So let's talk about our 5s. Our only 5, I should say, is, of course, 4 copies of BT20 Savior Huckmon. This guy is the GOAT. He's also enabling your final big Jesmon play. On play when Digivolving, delete a 5k or less. Awesome. That deletes the floodgate that says you can't play Digimon by effects, because guess what? Yes, I can. You're dead. End of your turn, though, is where this guy really shines. By suspending one of your other Digimon, this Digimon may Digivolve into a card with Jesmon in its name without paying the cost. Huge. You go into Jesmon for free, is what this says. Swing for free, because our Jesmons have Rush. That's what this says. And he also has the inherent effect of, while you're a Royal Knight, you gain Alliance. So Jesmon already has Alliance on face, as you will soon find out. So that means you are double alliancing with this Savior Huckmon inherit, and you just pop off and explode all over your opponent's face, right? All right. Our 6s. We are running, of course, 4 copies of the boy, the brand new BT23 Jesmon. Awesome card. Evos for 3 in this deck on our Savior Hucks. Or, if your opponent has a 10,000 DP or higher Digimon, you can warp off a Huckmon for 5, which is huge and really helpful sometimes. So, he has Russian Alliance on face. Crazy. And he basically has pseudo blitz. Because on Evo, on attack, you may play an Atho, Renee, or Poor token from your hand or trash, or one Digimon with Sistermon in its name without paying the cost. This effect cannot play any cards with the same name as any of your Digimon. So you play the token, or you play a sister that you don't already have on field. The token, of course, is a 6k white Digimon with Reboot, Blocker, and Decoy Red-Black. So he saves your guys. Really nice. And then what's really great is your turn once per turn, when any of your other Digimon are played, this Digimon may attack. So he doesn't see himself off this, but what this does mean is that you can slam Savior Huck for 7, suspend one of your other guys to Evo into him, and he is a free rush swing. Really great. Really, really great. And since he has Alliance, and probably double Alliance, you're coming in at huge number. He's insane. Just absolutely insane. All right, and of course, we couldn't play Jesmon, or at least I couldn't, without his master here, Gankoomon. Gankoomon, when he would be played if you have a Huckmon, Jesmon, or a Sistermon in its name in play, reduce the cost by 4. So that means he comes down for 8. And then Bauhuck says 2 less, so he's coming down for 6. Huge. Reboot blocker on face, which is nice. But the big thing is, on play when Digivolving, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a level 6 or lower Digimon card with Huckmon in its name, or the Royal Knight in the trait from the hand or trash, without paying the cost. So, awesome. He's gonna basically evolve into the next card that I'll show you. And in the meantime, he's setting up your other stack. So you're basically building 2 stacks. You're slamming Ganku to climb up into Jesmon, and then you use Sistermon block to Evo Gankoomon into Gankoomon X Antibody. I'm on 3 copies of X Antibody because Sistermon Blanc lets us Evo from the trash. So we need to see him either in hand or in trash. So either place he ends up is fine, just as long as we do see him. On Evo, Digivolve 2, which is really nice. And then if Ganku or X Antibody is in his sources, which it had better be if you're Evoing into this, your opponent's Digimon, all of your Digimon are immune to your opponent's Digimon effects till the end of the turn. And then opponent's turn, all of your Sistermon, Huckmon, or Royal Nitrate Digimon gain Reboot Blocker. Inherited effect, while he's Jesmon GX, all of your Digimon gain Reboot Blocker. So, really crazy card. He stalls you out for a turn. He protects your whole board for a turn. Just really, really good card. Let's slide everybody up a little so I can talk about the next couple cards. Actually, I guess I can slap these guys down. Our last Digimon of the deck is, of course, 2 copies of Jesmon GX Ace. Love this card. He is a Blast Digivolve, not a Blast DNA, but he can also DNA on top of Jesmon and Gankoomon in names, which is very good and a great way to end your games. Jesmon GX Ace on Evo, on attack, on play, once per turn. You, by placing 1 Royal Knight trait from your hand or trash as his bottom source, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much DP as this Digimon. So typically the threshold is like 18. Then when attacking once per turn, he unsuspends. Then for every 2 Royal Knight traits in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, burn your opponent's top security. So most of the time he's burning 2, swinging, unsuspending, swinging again. But you've already done 3 damage, so if you get into him after that big pop-off turn, you've won, basically. Awesome card, great game ender. He's our boy. On to option cards. We're all option cards from here on out, no tamers. Let's talk about them. They are somewhat the backbone of a Jesmon deck. Of course, 4 copies of From Master to Disciple from the starter deck. Reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add a Huckmon or Sistermon or Royal Knight in its traits to your hand, and trash the rest. Then place this card in the battle area. Since you only need to see Sistermon Blanc in your hand or trash, and Ganku X in your hand or trash, you can use this to grab the pieces you really need in your hand, namely the Bauhuck, the Jesmon. Savior Huck you don't even really need in hand, or also the Ganku. So basically your rookies, Jesmon, and Ganku are the cards you really need to see in your hand. The rest of them are really kind of flexible, and you can kind of play some ping pong to get the things that you really need where and when you need them. And then the delay effect, which honestly really doesn't come up all too often. There are times when these just sit on the board because I've already evoed Bauhuck in the back, and I'm going to evo for free for most of the rest of the turn anyway. So it's like, really, what's the point? But the delay effect is nice to have, especially if you push Huck out instead of Bauhuck, and that's reduce your next evo by 1. Which is really good, and it does stack, unlike like a training or something, because it's not an effect. It's just saying, hey, next time you evo, it's -1. As a result, if you're evoing for free somewhere, you're spending it there, and so that's why it sometimes just ends up sitting on the board. Security effect is the same. You get your same search. It functions very similar to Analog Youth, and for that reason, I could see you cutting these cards for Analog Youth, but I personally really like them. And that's 3 copies of the Sistermon Sisters Training Gym. While you have a Huckmon in the field, you can ignore color requirement. It's a 2-cost draw 1, then place in battle area. And then the delay effect is whenever one of your Digimon digivolve into a Huckmon or Jesmon in name, you may burn this to play a Sistermon unrestricted from hand or trash without paying cost. Security effect, you play a Sistermon in name from hand or cost, from hand or trash. Sorry, you play a Sistermon without paying the cost from hand or trash. And then it also gets set. Really great out of security. You can play the Blanc Awaken and get yourself a free recover. You can play the CL Awaken and stun something. You can play a CL and then Evo into the CL Awakened, because guess what? That's an all turns effect. I really like Sistermon Sisters Training Gym. I may go to 4 of it, honestly. But I could also see a world where I drop this card out completely and run Analog Youth, because like this card is kind of win more-y, but it's also very helpful out of security. It's really nice to have just another draw. There are situations when the 2 cost is nice. Again, it's weigh it, but Analog Youth is really good for the deck too. I like it. You may not. It's up to you. Build your deck how you want, right? We're running 2 copies of one of the best meta cards right now, Crimson Blaze. 6 cost, kill all 6,000 DP or less Digimon on your opponent's side of the field, and they can't play Digimon by effects till the end of their turn. And it reduces the cost for each Digimon they have in play. Great against Hoodie, obviously. Great against the Mirror, obviously. Great against the Virus Imperial, by the way. I've played that. Yeah, just it's a good defense card. Honestly, there have been games where I just didn't have my pieces and they had like a weenie or 2 on board, and I'm like, oh, that's too many swings. Crimson Blaze. Like, sure, you don't play anything by effects really, but I'm just gonna empty your board a little bit and give myself a little bit of breathing room, right? Yeah, enough said. Crimson Blaze, right? This is the first card I would cut. Didn't really do anything for me during my regionals run, and I only kept it because on paper it sounds very good, but in practice it didn't really do anything. This is also the last card of the deck, by the way. This is Red Scramble. You're almost never using this for value because you don't Evo into Savior Huck by paying any cost. So you would only ever use this to go into Bow, which has anti-synergy with any Master Disciples you'd have on the board. So it's like, when am I using this? Mostly for the comeback factor, because right, you get to return Jesmon from trash to hand after their big guy wiped your board, and then play a Huckmon, and then you can warp into Jesmon and immediately crack back, right? Makes perfect sense on paper. Makes perfect sense in an Omni version of this deck, where it's likely that your board is going to get wiped. The thing is, if you're playing this deck correctly, your board is not getting wiped. Just straight up. They might be able to deal with a couple things on your board, but when you have a big immune board of really beefy blockers, a GX ace in hand, honestly, it's incredibly rare that your board is getting wiped, and you're not getting that much value out of Scramble other than getting a piece back. Which I guess is nice, right? Grab a Jesmon, but it's like, when am I playing this? When am I actually finding time to play this? Or am I hoping they hit it out of security? You know what I mean? So Red Scramble, I think, is a card I'm going to cut in any future iterations of this deck, either for another training gym, or I have some sauce that I've been thinking about. Maybe red card, ADP, Os Generics. You never know. I got some, I'm brewing some stuff, but this card's coming out. I don't think it does anything in this version of the deck, but again, recursion's always nice. Grabbing stuff from the trash is always nice, right? Okay, that's the deck profile. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna give you the quick combo setup. So let me just clean up my board here. I'm sure my editor will cut this nicely for us. Okay, so quick combo setup here. The cards that you have absolutely needed to see, okay, to do your full combo is obviously a Rookie, a Bowhuck, a Jesmon, and a Gankoomon in your hand. Okay, these need to be in hand, and then in hand or trash, we need a Genku X, a Savior Huck, and a Sister Mont Blanc. Okay, that's all you need to do your combo. So we're going to raise Huckmon. Huckmon start of main phase, we're going to trash basically anything except the things I told you need in your hand to gain a memory and draw a card. That puts us at 2. Now we're able to do our whole combo. We go into Bowhuck for 2, we draw. We use Bowhuck's effect to play Ganku for 6. Ganku says we may Evo for free one of our dudes. So we're going to Evo Bowhuck into Savior Huck. We're going to pop one of their 5k Digimon, and then we're going to use Savior Huck's end of turn effect to suspend Ganku to Digivolve into Jesmon. Jesmon's effect is going to play out. Now this is important. You want to play Sister Mont Blanc off your first Jesmon. Jesmon then sees, hey, I played a Digimon, I'm going to swing. So you're going to swing, you're going to draw a card, you're going to alliance with Sister Mont Blanc first. You have 2 alliance pendings, so you do this for your first alliance. Now we'll stop here and we'll trigger Sister Mont Blanc first, and we will Evo Gankoomon 4-1 into Genku X. Now we are all immune, we're all blockers, resolve the rest of Jesmon's when attacking, You can de-digivolve 2. Then we'll play a sister. We'll pop a 4-cost. We'll do our double alliance. And this is our 3 big checks. We're immune, so no blast aces we really have to worry about. Plus, we probably de-digivolved and popped part of their board. And then after our 3 checks are over, we reboot. We're all blockers, and we're all immune to Digimon effects. Okay, and that's literally the bare bones combo, okay? If you had Sistermon training gems, we could play out more Sistermons, or maybe the token instead of the CL off of this, right? If we had CL Awakened and Trash, we could Evo into that for free. Lots more stuff that we could do. And don't forget your on plays for Blanc and CL, for example, but you can make this board crazier depending on what your resources are. If we had 2 Master to Disciples in hand, our Evo would have been free and we would have been passing our opponent 5 instead of 7. But yes, it is a 7 memory play, but go ahead, answer this board. Also, I have GX Ace in my hand that I'm waiting for you to do something with. You know what I mean? So that's the basic combo. There is one other combo I want to go over. It's very similar. All right, so we've had kind of a rough hand, okay? We haven't found all of our pieces. We never found Savior Huckmon, which is annoying, and that's usually what ends up happening. Or we never found Bao Huckmon. But we did find Ganku, and we did find Ganku X, and we do have a Jesmon in hand, okay? That's enough to pop off. Not crazy pop off, but enough to set up a threatening board. All right, so this is a different situation. Let's assume that things have not gone well for us. We're bricked up a little bit, but we have found a Ganku X, and a Jesmon, and a Sistermon Blanc, okay? Which are likely because those are all 4-of cards, but maybe you're missing the Bao Huck, you're missing the Savior Huck. Happens a lot. But our opponent has decided to press the advantage, and now they've put a Digimon with 10k DP or more on the board, which means our Warp is available. So let's say they pass this one again. We'll raise, we'll do the same Huckmon effect again. We'll pitch our Blanc to gain 1, draw 1, or whatever you want to pitch. And now instead, since they have a 10k body on the board, we're going to just play Ganku for 8. Okay, we'll give them the full 8. And Ganku's effect, we're actually going to Evo into the Jesmon. We'll warp into Jess. Jess will play the Blanc, and then we'll swing. Jess will play another sister or the token, whatever. And we're going to Alliance. Alliance effect, we go into the Ganku here. And now, sorry, we only get 1 alliance though, because we don't have the 5. But now we also still have the same board. We just don't get to do 3 checks. We're only doing 2. And we're still setting up a 4-wide board of immune blockers, which is very nice. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck profile. Real quick before I move on, I guess I'll talk about my matchups. I played round 1 Virus Imperial. I made a couple risky plays here. He swung with a Pyodramon and I decided to GX Ace him when I wasn't immune, because otherwise I was going to lose that turn. And luckily he did not have a Dragon Mode in hand to DNA and save himself with. So that's good. Okay, round 2 I played against Magnetic Dramon. And Magnetic Dramon rocks. This is a rough matchup for them. If I'm able to establish a Ganku, which I usually can before their pop-off turn, there's very little they can do. In a perfect world, yes, they can get up to 17 or even 20,000 DP, but a lot of the time they're not. And because they can't de-digivolve or pop any of my guys, I'm just kind of set up to, sure, you can do all the damage you want to me, but you're not going to get that final swing, right? I'm going to GX Ace and strip some of your materials off of you, or I'll just block it at bigger number than you. Because Ganku is 15 when he's buffed with a proper stack. So they're really kind of stuck there with Magnetic. That game, actually, I remember game 2, I was kind of slow out of the gates. And instead of going, I had no security left. But instead of going for the 3 checks, I ended up having a clear board. And then I just won next turn because I had GX Ace in hand. So I got to do my 3 checks with Alliance, and then I just DNA'd into GX Ace and won. So that's really nice too. You don't need to do the 3 checks if you have GX Ace and your opponent can't really stop you from doing it. So that was pretty good. Round 3, I played against Mallow Loop. It was just a speed game. Whoever gets to their stuff first wins. Simple as that. Not much to say about that matchup. That was probably my hardest games of the day, and the only loss I took all day. Everything else was 2-0 win. Round 4, I played against, what was this? Oh, Jesmon. So Jesmon was very interesting. Game 1, I had the whole pop-off turn. Crimson Blaze was able to stop his Baelmons from playing Jesmons. I just did whatever I wanted, and he couldn't really do much about it, because I was either immune or stopping him from playing things by effect, which was great. And then game 2. Game 2, I had the most unfortunate bricks of the day, and he milled himself out. And I know what you're thinking, oh, he must be a bad Jesmon player, right? If he milled himself out. No, I was at 8 security. Because I kept recovering with Blanc Awakened, I kept recovering with Ciel Awakened, and I kept stunning his Jesmon X. And any big stack he would build, I would just stun it. And he couldn't really do anything. And so I just sat here and just played stuff bit by bit and won that way by locking him out of the game all game. And he just went through his whole deck, and that was it. And then the final match was against Rocks. Again, this was another easy 2-0 for me because this is a really good matchup into Rocks. I think this is a really good matchup into a lot of the meta right now. I did dodge Hoodie, obviously, but I think this does decent into Hoodie too. The only thing you really have to be aware of is the option cards. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I love Jesmon. I think this deck is really fun. I think, while I do think that the Omni version is very good and very explosive, don't get me wrong, I think I prefer the Ganku version. I might play around with the Omni version at some point as well, but I've had a ton of fun. I'm really happy to get my first invite to Nats. And yeah, talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you think of my deck list, what you like in your Jesmon or don't like. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys all on the next DigiGuard deck profile. Peace.